Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video I'll be discussing some brief thoughts on episode 5 of the anime series Aku no Hana, or The Flowers of Evil. And this was definitely an episode with some interesting stuff going on in it, but I have to admit from the get-go, by the end of it, I was almost left feeling that was it. This series has had an overall slow and melancholy feel from the very first episode, which won me over and impressed me, and I almost feel like it was a disservice for this particular episode, because basically we're following Kasuga on his pseudo date with his classroom crush, Saiki. They're going to the bookstore. There's a few stops they make over the way, and he's basically struggling with an inner turmoil over what, the school, the class, I should say, tormentor, Nakamura, has been putting him through. And she's, of course, dogging his every step on this date, has forced him to wear her gym clothes, Saiki's gym clothes that he stole in episode 1, or rather at the end of episode 1 going into episode 2. And it's just a really intriguing affair. Now, of course, I was a little biased because this episode wasn't found online by me until 24 hours later than usual, and then it took an extra 24 hours, making a total of 48 before it was actually subbed, and so I was already perturbed going into this one. And then, by the end of it, where we're kind of left, not much progress has been made necessarily. It just really kind of dogged me by the end. But what really I thought was interesting was basically we have a discussion about surrealism between Kasuga and Saiki when they're looking over books in the bookstore just before he shows her his favorite book, of course, the Flowers of Evil book by Baudelaire. But I thought it was interesting because this is the first episode that actually introduces a sort of animated surrealism when he's, just joyous that Psyche has basically agreed to be in a platonic relationship officially with him and all this stuff. And we see the, clarion angels, and we see Psyche with angel wings, angelic, all of that sort of, visual cues, all of that stuff. And it has a surreal tone to it. So it was almost a precursor statement to that. I thought that was interesting. And then, of course, we have Nakamura interrupting this date. And I love, incidentally, when they're in the little cafe and Nakamura's sitting at a table down the line, and she's just evilly grinning, slurping her soda or whatever she's drinking, tea. But basically, she interrupts this date in the middle when they're in the bookstore, tells Kasuga to come out to an alleyway, and she basically orders him to kiss her, prove that he's a deviant, break down one of the walls that he's formed around himself, as she said last episode, and he is really debating it. He really wants to kiss this girl who he's crushed on, and this confession, as they refer to it, of deciding to be in an official sort of relationship, breaks the last nerve of Nakamura, who then comes running up to them in the park, dumps water on him, and very closely reveals that he's wearing her gym clothes underneath. Now, of course, he's just even more tormented by this, and he runs off. He's screaming. He probably scares Psyche, depending on whether or not, there's more to her story or not, which I suspect there may be, but he runs into Nakamura one more time, and she's saying, okay, well, we'll see how this goes. I'm going to cheer you on from the sidelines, all this, bamboozling. I don't believe it for 1 minute. I don't think she's going to let this lie. Of course, he falls for it, hook, line, and sinker, and that's where we end. So it's really, a minor step, but I'm still fascinated. I'm still wondering what's going to happen next. And yeah, I can't wait to find out. So that's pretty much all I have to say on this episode. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of it if you've seen it. And what do you make of this progress, or do you see it as a lack of progress in this relationship unfolding between this, trio of characters? And otherwise, that'll be it for me. I hope you're all doing well, and I'll catch you later. Peace.